And we are live. What's going on, folks? And welcome to episode 19 of the Nuclear Golf Podcast. My name is John. I'm the co-owner of Nuclear Golf and TW Legion. Joined tonight by Joey from Scheffler Fans, Mike Carbone, as well as Ryan from JT Legion. Fellas, we got a bunch of topics to get into tonight. Obviously, Aldrich Potgieter won yesterday. First career win, sudden death playoff versus Gracerman and Kirk. We've got a bunch of other stuff to get into as well. The Patrick Reed to the Ryder Cup debate has begun now after he won at Live Dallas yesterday. It was actually his first win during his time at Live, which is pretty surprising. Bunch of other things we're going to get into as well. Morikawa split with his caddy. We've also got stuff about the PGA Tour. Apparently no end in sight with the negotiations. Padraig Harrington won the U.S. Senior Open. Tiger was walking the course. Brooks withdrew. Sergio is back at the Open. A whole bunch of stuff that we're going to get into. But we started off with a recap of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Or I guess it's the Rocket Classic now. They took the mortgage line out. But Aldrich Potgieter won yesterday. And did you guys have a chance to watch? Maybe we'll start with Mike. Did you have a chance to watch over the weekend a little bit?
Yeah, I sure did. I was watching on and off this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But, I mean, just the way this kid moves the ball at such a early age, 20 years old and cruising at 195 ball speed, I'm just extremely impressed with that and the fact that he putts so well, too. I mean, he's 29th on tour in strokes gained putting. Second, I believe, in strokes gained off the tee, first in total distance. So, he's very impressive to say the least.
Joey?
Yeah, I ended up watching. It was one of those Sundays where you're just getting a lot done. So I was over at my brother's helping move some garage stuff, doing a new gym in the garage. So it's one of those where you pop in, you watch a hole while you're taking a break, and then kind of go do 5 minutes of work while you're in between holes. And then the playoff, man, that was good, but like 3 holes too long. Look, I'm all for free golf. I'm all about it. But at some point you're like, all right, this is kind of getting drawn out. But yeah, hell of a win from him. Like you said, he's 20 years old. I'm hitting that age where it's like you start seeing people younger than you do really well in athletics. Like you go to the Olympics and you got some 12-year-old, snowboarding or skateboarding and just winning gold medals. But yeah, kid's an absolute dog. But yeah, it was pretty impressive. It was, for the Rocket Classic, it brought some popcorn, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, man. The dude's ball speed is ridiculous. I think he's cruising at 192 or 193, and there was a couple of drives there, even under pressure. He was up into the 196s and just splitting the fairway. Really cool to see. Good playoff. I think, like Joey, I think it did go a little long. But that being said, good to see the young dude get a win. I think he's going to be a mainstay on the tour for a good long while, and I think the dude's going to be contending in majors here. I would say in the next few years. So it was really good to see.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. He's 7th youngest PGA Tour winner since the start of 1983, according to golf.com. He also joins only Seve and Rory McIlroy, Joaquin Niemann, and Tom Kim, who won on tour before turning 21. So, that's joining some pretty good company there. Such a young guy to be performing at that level. There were so many guys in the mix yesterday. Although the field wasn't amazing by any stretch of the imagination, it still had so many guys that had a chance late. And I think that probably brought some attention to the tournament in a way. I think I tweeted it out, but there was 12 guys or 13 guys that were within 3 or 4 shots of the lead coming down the stretch. Which it could go anyone's way at that point, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was good, man. And I hated to see it for Chris Kirk too, because Chris Kirk's got a good story, and he just missed that short putt, But good. Good on him. Good on Potgieter for winning, man. This is going to be a good start.
How about Chris Kirk getting yanked off the green in like maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds? They're just mic in the face. Like, how's it feel? Which is like the most generic question. It's like, how do you answer that?
It is, and you could tell like after that interview, it was almost like they left the camera rolling for an extra 5 seconds. You could just see the dejection in his face. It's like, man, I had to answer that question right after that. Always a bad time to interview an athlete after a loss, man. Always is.
But if Hutch was here, he'd have his Rory juice saying, if Chris can do it, then But
yeah, that's been a huge storyline this year. People taking interviews and stuff, especially after a tough loss like that. I mean, I would have liked to have given him 10, 15 minutes to at least digest somewhat what had just happened. But I mean, they are getting paid a lot of money, so there's that dynamic of it too. But can't help but to feel for the guy, because at the end of the day, they're all human.
Another elite list of company that Podgeter joined was the youngest to win a tour event in a playoff. Joining Spieth, 2013 John Deere. He was 19. He was the youngest of all time. And Tiger was 20 years old, 9 months when he won the 96 in Vegas. And then Podgeter at 20 years old, 9 months, 16 days yesterday. So
pretty
good company.
Impressive.
Good company to be around.
Pretty good company.
Especially
and then if you look at his starts, I mean, this year he's played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 events. Looks like he missed the cut in all but 5.
3 or 4? 5? Okay.
5. He was T15, second, T47, T6, and a first. And apart from that, he missed the cut everywhere. So
either he's got it or he doesn't.
Yeah, he's from South Africa. Did you guys see his dad mixing it up with Amanda Balionis?
I did. Saw that walking into one of the playoff holes. I was like, dude's hollering at Amanda. I saw that.
Max Grazerman as well is, one of those guys that's really emerged. He had strong performances on the Corn Ferry and then came out to the tour, and he's a good player. You could tell, you could tell by his post-round interview, I think, that he was planning to win his first PGA Tour event yesterday, and it just didn't happen. And he was rattled for sure. I mean, you stick a mic in his face right after, losing that opportunity, and he just kind of didn't blow it by any means. Just, it comes down to a playoff, and when it goes on that long, anything can happen. Like that many guys too, right? So it's not like it's just a 2-man playoff. They got 3 guys. So his time's going to come. I see Max Grazerman getting a win at some point sooner than later. What do you think of his game?
Yeah, he seems like a dog, man, and he had some really key drives down the last few holes in regulation. And he had some balls up there with Podgeter. I mean, it was I forgot the numbers. I think it was like 363 off the tee or something like that coming down. Like, I mean, he's there. He looks like he's got some dog in him. I think he's going to be good. I do. I think he's going to get a win. Too talented.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about this Patrick Reed story. Because at the very beginning of the week, before Live Dallas even began, Patrick Reed was asked about, what would a Ryder Cup pick look like? How would he feel about it? So I'm going to read you his answer. He was asked what it would be like representing his country. He said, "It's always on your mind. Anytime I get to represent our country, it means a lot to me. For me personally, I'm always thinking about trying to make every team. Obviously, being a part of Live where we don't get points, it's an uphill battle. But really, for me, I'm focused on playing some great golf and having a chance. It's going to come down to the Open, having a chance to win there. You have a really good showing and play well there, then you just never know. It's looking like no matter what, it's going to rely on a pick unless I go ahead and win the Open. Really, the only way I can focus on the Ryder Cup is that 1 week, go out, give it all I have, and have a chance to win." So, I mean, it's pretty obvious Patrick Reed wants to be on the Ryder Cup team. He wants consideration for the team. Now he won at Live Dallas, and there are a lot of people talking about whether he should be up for a pick or not. Just your guys' initial thoughts on Patrick Reed, and should he get a spot or considered for the team?
it's not a live thing necessarily because we talk about DeChambeau and that's clearly not an issue. It's a Patrick Reed thing. Quite one of the more disliked players just among consensus. He's obviously had a lot of drama in the past. So I mean, yeah, I know that the quote's been like, we want the best guys out there. I don't care who it is, whatever happens. But that also like, there's a couple of people that would probably be excluded from that list, and I could see where just the drama in the last couple of years between Liv and the tour, and I mean, I don't know if Patrick Reed's really close with any of the guys that are looking like they're going to be squared up in the Ryder Cup. So it's kind of, I mean, unless he's playing absolutely out of his mind when the time comes, there's definitely like some chemistry stuff that like you just don't want that in the locker room. Like the whole thing over the past couple of years between President's Cup, Ryder Cup has been like trying to build as much of like a family feeling. And so I don't look, I'm not back there, but I don't feel like Patrick Reed's going to like plug in and feel like a part of the family kind of guy. It feels like he just kind of be in the corner, kind of like half involved in conversations and same with playing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think with Patrick, I think the intangibles outweigh the tangibles for him. Like I think that he's had with the whole defamation lawsuits and all that stuff. I mean, I think he's kind of rubbed a lot of guys the wrong way on the tour, and not necessarily. Again, it's not necessarily a Live PGA Tour thing. It's just I just feel like he has a lot of bad blood out there, and I don't see a ton of interaction when you see rain sessions and stuff at majors when there's the extra coverage and stuff. I don't see a lot of chemistry with PGA Tour guys. So, I mean, for me, I just think it's the divisiveness in the locker room that it has a big potential, to be honest. That if he goes and wins the Open, okay, that does change some things. Maybe the tangibles start to creep up to the intangibles, but I kind of don't see the fit right now.
Yeah, I personally think that, the jury's been out for Patrick Reed for a long time. I mean, going back to getting kicked off the team at Georgia, the cheating scandals, the way he's treated other people. I mean, the list is very long as to why people don't necessarily like the guy. But, in the case that, Masters, Patrick Reed, and Captain America, starts playing that way, come Ryder Cup time, I think you do have to at least give it the time of day at least to consider him as a captain's pick. But for me personally, I just think he would probably blow up the locker room. And going back to what you guys were mentioning, the whole family dynamic and why Europe does so well in the Ryder Cup is they're like brothers in there. They love one another and they want to see each other win so badly, and they're rooting for each other. And going back to the Tiger and Phil days and the problems we've had in the Ryder Cup, it seems like that that family dynamic hasn't been there. It's been a lot more of I want to win, not what I don't want to see other guys win. And it's hard to flip that switch to that team aspect. And I don't know if Patrick Reed necessarily helps that.
Don't get me wrong. Like he's shown that he can play well in the Ryder Cup. And like, are the fans part of it? Yes. Like who's watching and kind of that kind of energy. But at the end of the day, it is whether or not the players feel like that's where it matters. If the players are going to be hindered or if it's going to make it really awkward for the players, that's the best decision at the end of the day. Look, if the players come together and they're fine with it and they decide that like, hey, we're putting America first. Like we want to beat Europe so damn bad that we don't care who you plug in that locker room. That's kind of one of those things that Keegan has to figure out and talk to people. And again, this could be a non-factor. He might not even have the juice to get a pick in the first place. So you have to assume they're going to make the right decision on that one.
Yeah, they're going to make the right decision. Patrick Reed's 7-3-2 in the Ryder Cup over the 3 that he's played. He's 3-0 in singles as well. It's a discussion. We heard Golf Channel commenter Eamon Lynch chime in today. He said, the prospect of Patrick Reed on the U.S. Ryder Cup team, quote, fires up the bots. And then said, adding Reed to the team would bring, quote, toxicity to the team room. He said it doesn't get much more toxic than Team Reed. So, I mean, that's just one man's opinion, obviously. Everyone can say what they want about it. I mean, the guys that are cheering for Liv obviously want Patrick Reed to make the team. You could bring the case that Patrick Reed does have that fire in him when it gets to the team events with Team USA. So there's a whole bunch of things that are going to be considered. And I agree with you guys. Ultimately comes down to the dynamics of the team and whether he's going to be a fit with the other guys. Because if there's like even any sort of animosity between two guys on that team, we've seen in the past that it doesn't end too well for the Americans. So I think that's definitely going to be top of mind going into the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I think this is more of a question of locker room presence versus play, right? Like I think the dude on the course can probably go out there and play, but I think if the morale is bad in any way, I think it affects everybody's play, and I think it's a net negative overall.
Were you guys surprised too? Just while we're on Reed, that was his first win at Liv. First win. During his time at Liv, he's been there since Liv was founded. First win. I mean, I guess it was only a matter of time. He's actually been playing pretty well so far this year. If you look at his results, at the Masters, I think he finished third.
Third, I think.
Yeah, he was third at Augusta. At the PGA, he missed the cut. At the U.S. Open, he was T23, which isn't too bad. I mean, from a results standpoint. I mean, he's played some Euro Tour events as well, in addition to his Live schedule. But, I mean, he was 10th at the Hero Dubai Desert Classic to start the year as well. And then he played a couple more tournaments over in the Middle East too, where he was T8. And then he was T60. So, and then I don't know his full results in the Live schedule this year, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how that conversation goes. I would imagine at this point, it's either really strongly yes or really strongly no, one way or the other, just the dynamics of the team. Like, I'd be interested to hear Keegan Bradley's thoughts on the Patrick Reed situation for sure.
Well, there's no way it's really strongly yes. Like I don't see a situation where Keegan Bradley like, this guy is on the team. Like, so I mean, if you're gonna say it's one of the other, heavily leaning towards no. But I can't see a situation where everyone's just like, yeah, I mean, if he keeps playing like this, he's penciled in.
Yeah,
for sure.
On that for sure.
In the points list, I believe he's in the bottom 20s, I want to say. Let me just pull it up here real quick. Yeah, he is right now. He's 35th. He has 2,800 points. So,
yeah,
I mean, he's pretty far down the list right now, if we're being honest about it, right? So, I mean, there's tons of other guys that you could make a case for as well who are outside of the top 15, 20. So, be interesting to see how that kind of evolves here over the next few weeks. We'll see how he plays at the Open, and then we'll probably have a little bit better of an idea. That could be a situation where we're going to be kind of monitoring his play over the next several events before the decision is made.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw a hypothetical out. Not that I think he would, but what if he wins the Open?
Yeah, well, then it's probably a done deal.
Yeah.
Now you're having the conversations where it's like, all right, you feel like you're kind of lagging the team back by not picking him. But again, that's he's going to have to do better than he is right now. So it's again, kind of a non-factor till it is. It's fun to do hypotheticals, but
yeah. I mean, that's a big if, Joey, but even still though, like, I think if the consensus among the players are that this is not going to work in the locker room, I still don't think it matters.
For
if
sure.
he's not qualifying, obviously, on points.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens. Let's shift to the Morikawa caddy split. So, after parting ways with JJ Jakovac, Morikawa opted to go forward with Joe Greiner. They've parted ways after less than 2 months of working together. They had made 5 out of 5 cuts together. Just this past week at the Rocket, Colin had a former college teammate on the bag. he was asked to comment on it, and he did. He kind of gave the honest truth. He said the two didn't really get along, which isn't really surprising to hear because you could kind of see some disagreements happening on the course. Ryan, you probably have a little bit better insight into Joe Griner, just kind of the person he is. He was on the bag for Homa. So what's your kind of thoughts on that? Do you think there's just a bit of a personality clash there, or just a different viewpoint on the way the game should be played? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a bunch of feature group coverage this year, and obviously Joe was on the bag for JT for his win at Harbortown. So there's that. But you could hear, like, on course, you could hear the kind of going back and forth at each other, and it's not the Spieth Greller dynamic either. It was more contentious, I guess you would say. And I just I never saw that working. I kind of feel like that Colin is a guy that needs a guy to kind of confirm his decisions, and Joe is a kind of a guy that's going to give you his actual opinion on pretty much all this stuff. And I mean, he's been through it. Joe's a great player in his own right. First, he's been on the bag for a top player in the world for a long time with Max. He won with JT. So, I think it was just more of a personality clash than anything, to be honest, with those two guys, because Joe is a great caddy.
Yeah, the quote was, he said, just because two people are great at what they do doesn't mean we're going to be great together. I think Joe is an amazing caddy, but I think just the way we kind of saw things, or just day to day, how we kind of went about it, we were just a little bit on a different page. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but for me, it just didn't feel right. So, I mean, yeah, based on that, not surprising that he wouldn't want to move forward with Griner. Better get rid of him now while it's not working. Then go continue on to some big tournaments where you're going to be mentally, challenged. Like, you're going to be struggling to come to the right decision if you're dealing with a personality that you don't want to be talking to. So I think he probably made the right move for himself. I think Colin Morikawa, say what you want about him, probably needs a little bit more of a yes man type of person around him, like you say, Ryan. And just isn't really able to handle, a difference of opinion, if you could say, like a little bit soft in certain ways, I think, from Morikawa. Mike, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I got to ask you guys this hypothetical question first. If Morikawa had won the U.S. Open, do you think we have this conversation?
Not yet.
No. Not yet. Do you think that postpones things? So I think part of it is, honestly, like, I think Morikawa deep down, I think he's just looking for a fix right now, because he's kind of in between. He's not playing his best golf. I mean, we've seen what he's capable of, at the 2020 PGA, 2021 Open Championship. I mean, the guy is an incredible player and arguably one of the best iron players of all time already. So he's not where he wants to be at right now. So I think, he's in that deflective stage, in my opinion. And the yes man definitely makes sense for him, because he's looking for someone that's telling him, like, hey, you're doing the right thing. I'm with you. He doesn't want to hear, hey, I think you got the wrong club, whatever.
Joey, the crazy thing is that Colin Morikawa literally ranks in the top 10 in every strokes gained category except putting. He's currently 5th in the world. I mean, not that we put much into the world rankings anymore, but if you're up there, you're a good player at the end of the day. So it's, pretty wild. I mean, he hasn't been getting the results necessarily, but when his ball striking is on, which it is still right now, I mean, he can be a good player. But again, no wins, right? Like, he's looking for a win. He's got 6 career PGA Tour wins, but it's been a while since something's happened for him.
Yeah, I mean, finishes aside and how he's played, like, he's still one of the best ball strikers on tour. So, I mean, I feel like Colin is kind of going through some frustration right now. Again, he's got so much talent, and I don't think the caddy situation, there's no drama there really. It's, you plug and play. This is something that about golf and PGA specifically that's kind of rare in sports, is that these player relationships kind of happen live. Like you play with your caddy, and then everyone's going to know if you drop your caddy or make a switch. But at the end of the day, it's in a lot of other sports, like whether it's your trainer, your coach, your agent, like a lot of that stuff's kind of behind the scenes. You can't hide that in golf. Everyone's going to notice if someone new is on the bag. So I think this is kind of a routine switch for him, where it's plug and play until he feels confident in the relationship. And again, he's got a lot of the puzzle pieces. He's just trying to put them back together. And like I mentioned, I think he's got a little bit of frustration. We've seen it with some of the media situations this year, which I'm sure we'll get into. And I think he's just kind of at a point where he's like, look, if it's not working, I'm not going to waste my time trying to draw it out. I'm going to switch it up. Again, plug and play till something works. Because at the end of the day, you can have some of the better stats on tour and have great finishes, and that's fantastic. But I mean, Colin's one of those guys that wants to get back in the winner's circle, and I think he's just going to keep doing things until he does.
Yeah, and to go back to your point, John, about the putting, there were some crazy stats put out there over the weekend that I saw about his strokes gained putting, and it was some crazy like -8, -6 strokes gained putting, and then he did switch putters over the weekend. I saw, and if you go back, if you look at the top 10 in the world right now, there's two guys that putt with blades. It's him and it's Hideki. And I don't know what Hideki's strokes gained putting is, but there's a reason that these guys are going to mallet putters, lab putters, face balance putters. I mean, it's just the science is so good behind all that stuff that these guys, all they have to do is just make a memory stroke, and it almost is going to come off the same way every time. As we're with the blade, there's a lot more opening and closing of the blade, releasing the putter. So I think that has a lot to do with some of his frustrations. And I think we're just seeing it kind of come out in the caddy and in the media. I think it's just a lot of frustrations because he hasn't had a win in a long time. It's probably just a build up.
Yeah, I agree. Another storyline this week was new PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolap met with players in Detroit. It was players only meeting. Again, they're getting feedback from players. They're kind of giving a state of the union on where things are heading. He indicated that the upcoming TV contract negotiations and media rights negotiations are going to be a big focus for him, obviously, which makes sense. I think there's going to be some big changes in that regard with how things are kind of structured, and the way we consume the PGA Tour, I think, is probably going to change drastically. It just is time. Like, as time goes on, things evolve, and we're just kind of at that point where things need to be a little bit different, right? But we also heard a little bit of insight from Matt Kuchar, who was in that meeting, and he spoke to Golf Week, and they were asked about the live negotiations. And Brian Rolap said essentially what he found out was that there is no end in sight currently. Apparently the PGA Tour is open to restarting negotiations if the PIF decides to want to do that. But right now the talks are stalled. They're not talking whatsoever. Apparently the sticking point right now is that Yasser Al-Rumayyan, who leads the PIF, wants to have Team Golf be a pillar of this entire agreement. He's not willing to budge on that, and that's probably something that the PGA Tour wants to eliminate, if we're being honest, right? I mean, maybe they want to incorporate Team Golf into some way, shape, or form, but they don't want it to be, the foundational element of the league. So we already know that they want the PGA Tour to kind of be one tour. Integrate those guys back in, but they want to take out live as it is right now. Yeah. And I think that's a little bit of a pride thing on the live side. I mean, they've built up this league. They've taken this whole franchise approach to it. They've got guys that are invested in their teams. It's like they're running 12 individual businesses within live. The players have equity. And I think, those guys are proud of that. Like, whether it's been successful or not is another story. But it's going to be difficult for Liv to come to terms with that. And I think that's kind of why we're not going to see a deal anytime soon. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. I kind of see this as it feels like a divorce. Like, I don't see any end to this anytime soon. As long as, both sides have their feet dug in and they're not going to budge. I mean, we're not going to get anywhere. the PGA Tour is what the PGA Tour is, and if the Live wants to be the way that they are, then say la vie. I just, if you want to go play that golf over there and go get your bag, go do it. And if you want to play it the old-fashioned way and you want to stay on tour, then go over that way. Simple as that.
I mean, I feel like PGA Tour is kind of like a weird change here. So obviously, anytime you change CEO, and there's obviously this has been a thing kind of for some years, but you have this guinea pig basically that's gone out and kind of without you having to take any risks, shown you some aspects in golf that the newer fans and that a whole different world of golf fans are kind of enjoying as well as the players. Even money aside, there's aspects of the Live Tour that the players enjoy probably a little bit more than the PGA. So I'd be interested to see if PGA Tour decides to keep chasing negotiations to try to figure something out, or do they start, I'm talking minute things at first, but integrate just smaller factors of Live that kind of bring that edge to it. So, they could go down the path where they just say, look, we're sticking with this. If you guys can't, come to agreement with some terms, then that's just, like Mike said, we're going to go two different ways and kind of just maybe find a way for the two leagues to coexist in some sort of unified manner, but still be separate entities. Or they start to kind of, you're seeing with the NFL, we talked about it last episode. Do they see a strategy change where they try to integrate some sort of team chemistry on the back end to start? And do they tinker with some stuff? Because again, they've had Live go out and kind of guinea pig what works and what doesn't. And they've had years now of feedback. So I'm definitely interested in, it's going to be, I think it's also going to be a while. We're not going to get anything breaking within the next year or so, but it's definitely an interesting spot. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with it.
Yeah, and I think this is part of the reason, there's been some backlash about keeping Jay on until the end of next year or whatever. But I think this is a good time to pick Jay's brain on hey, here's some things that we like. Here's some things that we don't like. Let me, maybe he doesn't have all the knowledge of the ins and outs of this. And so he can probably gain a little bit of knowledge from that and say, okay, we're going to pivot. We're not going to keep going down this road with this strategy based off of the current PGA Tour mindset. We're going to move in this direction. Or, hey, here's some things we do like. So I think this transition period is important. I think there's been some chatter online about why would we keep Jay on this long? I think it's beneficial to everybody to have somebody who's been there for a long time, give some insight. And then your new guy, he can choose what he likes and what he doesn't like and throw out what he doesn't like, So I think we need to just give this some breathing room here.
Yeah, I agree. Padraig Harrington won the U.S. Senior Open over the weekend. I definitely tuned in for the last few holes. When the Rocket Mortgage was coming on the air and it was in its early stages, and there's a lot of guys that you're not really too dialed into there towards the top of the board, I was like, I'm going to tune into the U.S. Senior. And it didn't really disappoint. There were some big names up there, but it was all said and done. Padraig Harrington was victorious. It's his second major win on the senior circuit and his second senior U.S. Open. So good for Padraig. He played some solid golf. I'm not sure if you guys watched any of it, but we're just kind of waiting for Tiger to play some senior majors, I guess.
Yeah. I tuned in a little bit for it, and one of the best things I saw at the end was his quote afterwards, and he said he learned something from Harold Irwin. He said, "Always play the next shot like you're a stroke behind," and that's why he was aggressive on 18. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was so cool that he came through. It was a clutch shot. I saw our Padraig tracker. He set out. He's got the clutch gene, and it all made sense. Padraig just plays with his heart, and it's so good to see him win. I love his videos. I like everything. He's truly, I think, growing the game of golf. So I love to see a guy like that win.
Did y'all happen to catch him and Roger Maltby's dust up a little bit?
I did.
Yeah.
It's a very senior thing to kind of get upset about.
I didn't get to see the footage of I didn't get to see the footage of the actual shot. So yeah. I saw the back and forth, and I read online. I read Roger's quotes. I read Padraig's. So I think it's probably a big to do about nothing. But
Yeah.
but
Well, they
Yeah.
cleared it up, and it's one of those things. If someone's not filming, or like if it's not happening right there in front of a bunch of people, you never hear about it. But I did think it's like a little silly. I mean, Roger's doing a job,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Granted, if you see the ball where it landed, yeah, they just kind of in normal capacity, you'd be like, hey, I think it might be right there. Obviously, if you just go out of your way to not help at all, that's one thing. But I mean, like if you're Podrick, you got to kind of assume like, hey, he's got a headset on. He's got a billion people talking to him. He's got his own thing that he's focusing on. He's not going to like take off his gear and start climbing in the pit to try to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old is Roger?
He's an older guy for sure.
Yeah, he's he's very old. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't expect him to go out of his way to jump into, all that brush and
also his quote was, he's like, basically, I've got people in my ear. I can't do what I'm doing from inside the forest, wherever the ball is. He's like, I couldn't do my job from in there. So I kind of don't blame Roger at all in the sense that I get Podrick's point. Hey, dude, you played golf for 40 years on the tour. It's common courtesy to look, but I think in this instance, it probably was not there was no malfeasance going on.
You don't see
a job.
You don't see Dottie throwing off the headpiece to go, digging through the deep stuff. I mean, it's kind of silly, but again, wouldn't have seen it if someone wasn't recording. So
I think a little bit of a misunderstanding, right? Like the quote was, I just wanted him to know that why I didn't help search for the ball. I've never had a crossword with Podrick. I've been a Podrick fan all these years. Anyways, I tried to explain to him, quote, Podrick, my producer had told me to stand by. They were going to come to me for a report. I could not do it searching for your ball inside those trees, so I did not go in. He said, quote, so I should have disobeyed my producer. And then Harrington said, you've played golf all your life. You understand. You don't stand looking at somebody looking for a golf ball. Like pretty unreasonable, I think, by Podrick to expect Roger Maltby to go in there and start looking for it. There's many other sets of eyes that could assist with a search like that. So no need for, on-course reporter to be going into the deep shit to look for a ball.
Yeah. And I think my other favorite quote from Roger afterwards, he's like, I've cashed all these checks for NBC and I've never seen Podrick's name on one of them.
I don't expect, like, Mike, if your kid loses her toy or whatever out in the hallway, like, you're not just going to drop what you're doing right now and go be like, oh, I'll look for it.
Yeah, that's mom's problem right now.
Hey, you do a job. Like, it's, and that's why they cleared it up, so it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's all good. A few other tidbits. It's a pretty light week. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot going on in golf this week, so we'll just run through a few topics pretty rapid fire here. Sergio Garcia is returning to the Open. He finished the new Live points pathway from the RNA, enables the top 5 guys to qualify for the Open. I think he got in at number 5. So he's going to be playing at Royal Portrush. It's be his first Open Championship since 2022, I believe. Anyways, good for Sergio. He's back in the mix at the Open. We'll see if he's wearing his canary yellow.
It'll be race car. It'll be race car suit material, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I
Here's
heard
to Sergio.
I heard somebody, or I saw somebody comment on one of our posts about Sergio qualifying, and they said, "Is he going to be dressed like a McDonald's employee again?"
Yeah, those Ronald McDonald comparisons were spot on, though.
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty.
Those outfits are pretty rough. I hope maybe he signs back with Adidas or something like that. Get something a little more, just mellow, if you will.
Yeah. Brooks Koepka kicked a tee marker at Live Dallas. So I believe he only played 10 or 11 holes on Friday during the first round. I think he was like, Mike, was he 7 over? You're a Brooks
7. Yeah,
okay.
He was 7 over when he hammered that tee. Yeah, so that was.
So he hammered a tee with his driver, and then I saw some comments as well saying that it almost hit a kid, or like it would have hit a kid if it didn't get blocked by something. So I mean, pretty tough look there for Brooks. I mean, just letting frustrations boil over. Obviously, the official reason for the withdrawal was due to illness. I mean, take it for what it is. I'm not sure. But anyways, I think there's been other discussions, like even amongst our Brooks tracker, Lyle, about like whether Brooks is injured. He said he's seen some signs suggesting that maybe there's an injury there, which maybe that's preventing him from practicing. Maybe that's why his play is poor. Could be a whole bunch of different reasons. We don't really know, right? Anyways, it was interesting because he withdrew, so he's ineligible for the individual component of the tournament. And then Live Golf Comms posted that he could return. He could have returned on the weekend and actually posted a score for his team. But he didn't end up returning in any way. So I don't know why they posted that. It's like he had the option to return, but he didn't return. So not sure. But yeah, did you guys see that?
I saw that. I don't understand that at all. I mean, if you withdraw, I feel like you withdraw. You know, I don't see how you can contribute to the team or anything if you withdraw. I mean, no matter what the reason is, I guess I don't understand that dynamic of that format.
Mike. The funny thing is, like, I saw the purse payout and Brooks got paid. Like, he still got paid $10,000 despite withdrawing, which is pretty
crazy.
wild.
Yeah, that's my beef with Liv. It's just like, you know, once you withdraw, like you're not getting paid that week. You know, you're getting out of there, you're hopping on the jet, and you're done. So that's my, you know, it doesn't feel authentic in any way, shape, or form.
Even if that's like the team earnings or whatnot, I don't know if that's the team earnings share. It's weird that I would think that the team earnings would be a little bit more than that, even if it was divided up. But like, you could almost make the case that like if you withdraw, you shouldn't even be like entitled to the team earnings because you didn't even contribute.
Yeah, I wonder how his teammates feel about that.
Yeah, I don't actually know if it's the team earnings or if it's just like a kind of a participation medal.
I was about to say it might just be a flat, you know, something for the teams. Like even if you withdraw, your team still gives you. I mean, no, $10,000 isn't really raising these guys' eyebrows at all after live deals, but I mean, I'll take 10,000, but that probably covered the first 10 minutes of his jet ride back to his house.
Yeah.
So there's final qualifying going on for the Open Championship. Have you guys been keeping an eye on that? There's some whole host of live guys that are going to be competing. I think tomorrow, I want to say it is, all across a bunch of sites in the UK. I know like Ian Poulter, Peter Uline, some of those guys are teeing it up, trying to get into the Open. So I guess we'll see. So there's 288 guys who are chasing 20 spots, according to the BBC. So there's a whole bunch of opportunities to get in. I think Graham McDowell is going to be teeing it up, I believe. Poulter, a whole bunch of guys. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll keep an eye on it, obviously. But Danny Willett, Alex Fitzpatrick, Sam Horsfield. There's a whole bunch of guys. So they'll be trying to make it into Portrush, but won't get the same attention that like final qualifying for the U.S. Open will get, I imagine.
Did you mention it? Peter Finch trying to qualify for a spot?
No, I didn't mention that, but he's advanced. He's made it through the finals, right?
Right.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah, that's cool just to see anybody do that. I don't care whether you watch his content or not. Like that's kind of something we all wish we could.
Yeah. He's one of the OG golf YouTube guys.
He's an OG, and like some of his team was like tracking his qualifier, which is kind of cool. So it's cool to see like a content guy like that make it to final qualifying. We'll see how he performs tomorrow, but good for Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for him.
I mean, we're almost ready to wrap it up. Last kind of thing. We'll do our picks for the John Deere. Last thing I just want to talk about briefly. Tiger was spotted walking to Cuesta Country Club. He was watching Charlie. He was on foot. He was walking the course. I think we talked about it on the last show. He was walking the patch, which is the course design that he's doing at Augusta Municipal, which is owned by Augusta National. There were photos that were released. He was walking on sand. Now he was actually walking the golf course while Charlie was competing. So we're 3 months post surgery. I guess we're actually probably about 14 weeks post surgery now from the Achilles surgery. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how this progresses. He's already walking the golf course on different terrains and stuff like that. So I think he's trying to get back sooner than later, if I had to imagine. Maybe the Hero and the PNC if everything goes well, or maybe just the PNC. What do you think?
That's what it feels like. I mean, it feels like he's walking. I mean, seeing him walking in that deep sand, and obviously we don't have the full, we didn't get the, the full depiction of the whole day, but I mean, that was some deep sand and walking after an Achilles injury. That's a big deal. And just to see him out walking the course just shows the progress. So I fully expect the PNC this year, honestly, and hoping for the Hero as well.
Also, knowing Tiger, he's not going to take his time getting back. Like, he's going to try to walk as much as he can. Like, obviously being cautious, but he's not holding back any bit.
Yeah, he's ramping it up big time. I heard that he was out at a Blue Jack Ranch in Alito not too long ago too, and he was walking pretty well out there as well. So fingers crossed that the rehab continues to go well, and we see 180 ball speed at the PNC this December.
Mike, that was actually a while ago, the appearance at Blue Jack. So I mean, if he was walking at that time, I mean, he's probably getting pretty good at walking at this point. That was like a month ago. That might have been even more than that. Might have been like a month and a half ago. So
yeah, that's super impressive. I mean, he's got the best medicine, the best doctors, the best therapy, the best everything. So it's kind of like everybody was surprised when Aaron Rodgers came back after his Achilles so fast. It's like, I don't know. These guys have the medicine's so different now than an Achilles tear, rupture, whatever you want to call it, than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we know Tiger, but I wish there was a documentary crew like following him around right now.
Yes.
Because even if he gets back and does like anything cool, I'm not even going to compare it to 2019. But like, first off, you put a Tiger documentary out, you're going to get everyone watch anyway. But it'd be so cool to just kind of see like, because I mean, we saw the whole thing on Valentine's Day. Like, there's something about Tiger where he's just kind of more open to stuff he wasn't. So like, I would love to see just not a lot, just some footage of the recovery and what his PT looks like, and just some behind the scenes access, because he is a very private, closed off guy.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, let's do some picks. Attention is shifting to John Deere, TPC Deere Run, right? In Illinois.
Yep.
We've got Pot Geeters teeing it up, I think, again this week. Jason Day's in the field, Sung J M, Ricky Fowler, Max Homa, Ben Griffin, I believe, as well. Not a deep field. We're definitely in kind of the dog days of summer here. The Rocket with the Deer. There's another low tier event. Actually, I guess we've got the Scottish coming up before the Open in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
so that'll be good.
That'd be really good.
The Genesis Scottish is a top tier event. There's a lot of guys playing there.
A lot of guys go over ahead of time.
Yeah. Get their reps in.
They go see Wimbledon. They watch some tennis. Golf.
Yeah.
Good time.
Anybody that you guys are keeping your eye on this week?
Yeah, I'm going bold. I know Ben Griffin's favorited, I think, by a little bit, which is kind of crazy still, even seeing some of the names in the field. I know he's on a heater, but still to see him, I think he's like plus 1,700. Next closest is 22 or 23. But lock it in, and I have zero evidence to back this up, so don't hold it against me. But Denny McCarthy, it's back in the winner's circle this week. Again, don't hold it against me. I have zero evidence, just a feeling. Could not be cut, but there's a little juice.
The putt throw.
I'll take Pot Geeter. I think he's going to go back to back.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
I think Jason Day has the second best odds according to CBS. Ben Griffin is the first at plus 1,600, but I mean, I think Jason Day's due. He's played some good golf. I don't know what his record is at Deere Run, but Jason Day, I feel like, has been in the mix more than not. I should pull up his stats, actually.
While you're looking that up, John, I'm going to go with the 2018 winner. I'm going with Michael Kim, the great
Nice.
Twitter follow.
Yeah.
Nice.
With Michael Kim.
I would love to see
Yeah.
him get back up there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And he's definitely going to tell you everything that happened too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's so open on Twitter that, like, dude, a win, seeing like what that looks like for him because he's so open. Like, that'd be so cool.
Just going back to the day thing, I guess it was more of a recency bias for me, but he was T4 at the Travelers. So that's kind of where I got that strong play from. But he was T23 at the US Open. Like, he was up there.
Yeah, he played solid there.
PGA missed the cut. At Heritage, he was T49. Actually, Masters, he was T8, which is pretty solid stuff. And T27 in Houston, he was T8 at the API as well. He was T50 at the Genesis. He was T13 at the AT&T Pebble Beach. He was T32 at the Farmers. He was T3 at the Amex. He was T40 at Century. Like, he's had some good finishes this year. I think he's kind of knocking on the door. Like, something could click at some point here. Ultimately, it just comes down to the putter for all these guys.
Yeah. And J Day, he's put some good rounds together. I won't say he's put necessarily a full tournament together, but he's definitely you look on the leaderboard, he's definitely been in some top tens after Friday or after Saturday, and like, you know, he's been up there. So I agree with that. He's definitely due. And Joey McCarthy is now plus 2,800. So if you want a little bit more bang for your buck,
Hey.
and Michael Kim is plus 4,000 right now. So
a lot of juice.
Little juice.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Griffin is just on a heater right now, eh? So
it's so funny because, like, Ben Griffin being on a heater is just so different than Scotty, because Scotty opens a tournament at like plus 160 and Ben opens at plus 1,600. Like, it's funny how if you compare the levels, it's just not close.
I mean, this is a heater for Ben Griffin standards, but mean, it's a T8 at the PGA, first at the Schwab, second at Memorial, and then top 10 at the US Open, T14 at the Travelers, T13 at the Rocket. Like, this is results that anybody would love, like, die for on the tour. I mean, for the most part, I mean, 4 top 10s in his last 6 starts, right? Like, including 2 majors.
I mean, name a player outside of Rory and Scotty that wouldn't take what you just said. All of them would.
Mm-hmm. They've also all been at like different style courses. Like, he's not just like, oh, he's playing like the mid-level kind of tournaments pretty well. I mean, he's going out at majors and showing up too. So, I mean, I don't even know what Scotty would open up as this week. Probably in this field, you're getting
minus 175.
You're getting real close to even odds. So, yeah. If not favorited. So,
I think I saw a report today that Rory was actually practicing. So Rory's over in London now. I think he's at his new house over there. And I saw a report that he was practicing. I'm not sure. I don't have the name of the course off the top of my head, but I think he was seen out on the course today, getting accustomed to, links golf and getting ready for Portrush, which is home for him, right? In Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I saw Shane post a video of Shane riding in a car into the town, and they had a big portrait of Shane on the side of the building, and it made me think like maybe him and Rory are over there having some practice rounds or something like that. Yeah. I think that video was fresh. I don't think it was an old one.
Yeah, I don't see any of the Rory trackers posting about it, but I definitely saw it today, so something to see. We'll see if I think he's over there now until the Open. I think he said that he's going to be over there, just practicing, and then he's going to play the Genesis, I believe, right? So
I'd imagine,
yeah.
Anyways, fellas, it's been a good show. As always, the podcast is available live on X, live on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We're growing that channel up right now at Nuclear Golf. We are also always live after the fact, not live, but recording is available for replay on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. My name is John, co-owner of Nuclear Golf and TW Legion, and I've been joined tonight by Joey from Scheffler Fans, Mike Carbone, one of our Nuclear Golf ambassadors, and Ryan over at JT Legion. Be sure to give everybody a follow. And until the next episode, it's been an awesome one, fellas. We'll see you soon.